This amp was sent to me to use on the channel and to make this review. I'm not getting paid, but it's still considered a sponsored video. I'm just saying that because a lot of people don't know that it's still a sponsored video when you get stuff for free, and even some bigger channels doesn't seem to be aware of that. So now you know if you didn't know. First, I want to talk about all of the stuff that I really like about this amp, and in the same segment go a bit back and forth on why you should maybe consider this amp over something from Vox, because yes, it's a Vox type of amplifier. And being a Vox type of amplifier, it sounds amazing. It is among the best Vox sounds that I've definitely played, but also heard. I always think it's a bit difficult to explain guitar sounds. I should be really good at that, having this job, but it has that chime, which a lot of people are talking about. Something going on in the top end that you don't have on Fender amps or Marshall amps. It's very different from those, and to me it's among the easiest amps to pick out in a blind test. Especially when you are just cranking the preamp a tiny bit, you get that chime. Here's a clip. So that's the chime thing that you just heard. So why should you get this over a regular Vox? It's quite a lot more expensive. Well, this is kind of anecdotal, but I used to work in a guitar shop quite a few years back, so it might have changed now. But we sold a lot of AC15s and AC30s from Vox, and a lot of them came back with issues. We also sold the hand-wired stuff from Vox, and they didn't have the same issues with reliability as the normal amps. I would say that the Copper Deluxe from Victory sounds a lot more balanced than the regular Voxes, at least from back then. I haven't tried them in a while. The hand-wired stuff is a lot closer, but then you have more features on the Victory Copper Deluxe, which leads me to my favorite feature on the Copper Deluxe, and that is the two modes, the two power modes that you have on the amp. You have a 35 watt mode and you have a 12 watt mode. So it's sort of like having a AC30, but AC35, so you have some more headroom, which is a good thing to me, especially if you are using pedals. And on the low mode you have 12 watts, which is basically the same as an AC15, but a tiny bit less, which makes it compress maybe a tiny bit more. And maybe, I haven't done an A/B test here, but maybe you have some less volume, which is good, because if you want more volume and clean headroom, you go for the high power mode. If you want more compression and gain, you go for the 12 watt mode. It's a very good feature. So between those two modes and the fact that you have a bass cut and a mid boost on the amp, you have a lot of tonal options. And that is a very good thing with this amp, and to me makes it even more usable than a hand-wired Vox AC30 or 15, or both, because you sort of have both in the Victory Copper Deluxe. Also, if you are into using effects loops, you have one on the Copper Deluxe. You can even turn that off and on with a foot switch that you get with the amp. I don't use effects loops, but a lot of people do, and that's a feature that you have on the Copper Deluxe that you don't have on the Vox hand-wired amps. Also, you have reverb and tremolo that you can turn on and off with a pedal. The reverb sounds fantastic, and so does the tremolo. I have the combo version of this amp, and that comes with the Alnico Gold, probably the best speaker to pair with this type of amplifier. So if you want to go for the head version, I strongly recommend that you get either an Alnico Gold or a Blue. Those are my favorite speakers to use with Vox type of amplifiers. And before going to the only negative thing that I have to say about this amp, I want to mention that I just love using this amp together with a Fender type of amplifier. I have a video about that coming up quite soon, but I also did one a couple of weeks back. I will leave a link down below where you can check the beautiful combination of a Vox type of amplifier with a Fender style amplifier. It's among the best tones that I've ever gotten on this channel. So what is the negative thing that I have noticed about this amp? I have the combo version, and I have noticed some amp rattle. Again, I want to say, because I did a review of the Fender Pro Reverb, and that was the only con that I had to that amp as well. It did have some amp rattle. It's very common in combos That's often why people get head versions of amps. So if you don't like amp rattle at all, I would recommend that you maybe check out the head version. But I want to mention it because I think it's possible to make a combo without amp rattle, because I have owned combos where there has been basically no amp rattle. I'm also mentioning it because it can cause an amp to fail more often than a head version, because you have a lot more like vibration in the amp, and that can cause tubes to fail quicker. It's not a big issue. I can't really hear it when I'm recording or when I'm playing loud with other people, but it definitely feels nicer when you're turning on an amp and you don't have any rattle. Maybe I'm spoiled, but yeah. YouTube is probably recommending a video right here. Please check that one out as well. That means that we are done. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like. Goodbye.